first of all, I think my biggest thing, so there's two things when I go and sort of work with somebody. The first thing is sort of meeting that person where they're at. So like when you, as you know, from being in practice yourself, when you get a parent in front of you and a child in front of you, you sort of can gauge over that first appointment, that initial really intricate intake, sort of where their sort of mental state is at, or like their mindset's at, and how capable or how able they are at that moment in terms of their mental capability, I suppose, because a lot of this is
Yeah.
mindset to actually make those changes. And we'd always think about, and I would always give people two options. So you've got the option that we use with Rose, which was, so my child was, if she didn't get cheese and crackers, so all the wheat, all the milk, if she didn't get those things, she would self-harm. She would hit herself on the floor. She would hit her head, and she would headbang and things like that. And that's scary for parents to see, because if you're not giving a food and your child then hurts themselves, you go into this huge trauma
Yeah.
response, and it feels so painful and scary that you're like, and then you end up just serving the food again. So you've got that side of it, which is where we came from. And so the way that we did it was slow. And I'll sort of talk about sort of some of the strategies that we used in that area, where it's like meeting the child where they're at and thinking about really small changes from the loved food to build them up. So in our head, when you come and see me, I'll have a goal in terms of what the diet looks like, but I won't always tell the parent what that goal is, because of course that would be way too overwhelming if I said, right, your child currently eats only crackers or cereal. And so basically we just want them to eat meat and vegetables. They'd be like, and like run for the hills, because they don't think that's possible. But actually it is for every child actually. But we do it in stages, so it's broken down in chunks, so it's more manageable and feels more comfortable for the parent and the child. So you've got this area where you can go in stages, and we'll talk about what those are. And then you've got the parents who come in and they just want to rip the bandage off, and they're like, I'm just going to stop buying
Yeah,
the
that's what we
food. So
did. We went cold turkey.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think and you can gauge that, and you can offer that to the parents. And I think the biggest thing is, there's no one size fits all. There's not a generic way of doing this. This isn't like, oh, if you follow this is because every child is unique. Their needs are unique. Their wants are unique. Their preferences, and the parents' sort of ability to make change is unique as well. And of course, like you said, you went into it and you were very much like, we're going to just remove everything and just serve this. For us, it was different, because for me, I think I was traumatized by her hurting herself. So I was very slow with it. So a couple of examples. So the thing that I want to say as well is that before we move on to like strategy, is that your mindset in this is so important. So if you are serving food from a place of desperation, fear and anxiety that your child is not going to eat or is going to die if they don't eat food, your child is so sensitive, because they have neuroception, right? So basically, like every emotion that you're feeling, your child is feeding off. So if you're going into a situation where you're like, today I'm going to change the food slightly, but you're so petrified of doing that because your child's going to starve, your child is going to sense that. Your child goes into fight or flight, and the digestion appetite shuts off. So a child that may have been curious and open, because they're feeding off of your emotions, are now shut off to that. And actually, that dynamic of the mealtime is incredibly scary for the child, because we're going into it from this place of like utter anxiety and petrified fear that the child's going to die of starvation. And the child feels that. And so I think like it's really difficult to do. But if you're going to do the taking everything out and serving, you have to do it from a place of no attachment. You have to do it from a place of, I'm serving this food. If they don't eat it, it's fine. And this is like, in terms of like biology, our bodies can go for 30 days without food. So, and I'm not saying you should starve your child to death. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that if they miss a meal, they are not going to die.